Hi. The problem today that we'll discuss that is in front of us is how to estimate the area of Delhi. So before we jump into the solution, why don't you pause the video right now, take 10 seconds and come up with a strategy. Okay. I hope you have a strategy by now. So let me just discuss my solution with you. Okay. So when I've done this case with other people before, I find that some people start off with the number of states and union territories in India and try to estimate the area of India from areas of respective territories. I find that approach a little difficult to work with because it's very hard to estimate the area of an individual state, and all the states have such different areas and not recognizable shape in most cases. So what we'll do is we'll take a cue from the Delhi problem that we did last time and we'll try to solve it in a similar fashion. So our objective would be to bring the country and try to see it as a recognizable shape. Okay. So let's start with the map of India. Have a look. Right. So we see that it's roughly a rhombus. Okay. For the purpose of a guesstimate, trying to assuming that the shape is a rhombus is a perfectly valid assumption. And as we know, for a rhombus, the area is half into product of diagonals. For someone who's not very well versed with the mensuration formulas, you can always assume that India, instead of being a rhombus, is actually two triangles. Okay, and you can take the base either vertically or horizontally. All right. So assuming it's a rhombus, all we need to do right now to get the area of the whole country is to find the length of the two diagonals. If you also see the shape of India, you will find that the diagonals are roughly seem to be equal. We can estimate them, but the estimation method would follow an exactly same approach or a similar approach. So we can right now assume that they are same and just do for one of them. All right. So how do we go about estimating either the east-west expanse or the north-south expanse? There could be two ways. One could be let us say that someone who is actually quite well versed with geography and might remember from their early classes what the latitudinal or longitudinal expanse of India is. From that, they can work this problem out. So let us say that we know that India's east-west expanse is roughly about 30 degrees. There's a 30-degree difference. We know that the overall circumference of the Earth is 40,000 kilometers in a circle of 360 degree. So our expanse is about 1/12 of that. So it will become 1/12 of 40,000, which is about 3,300. But this circumference is at the equator, whereas our east-west expanse is a little above that. So for the purpose of this case, we can assume it that okay, our expanse would not be 3,300 kilometers, but rather would be something like 3,000 or 2,800. Okay, it doesn't matter what we take in this case. Let's assume it to be 3,000 for the sake of simplicity of calculation. All right, so that could be one approach. Another approach that perhaps is a little easier to follow is from recognizable distances. Okay, so I'm assuming that almost everyone has an idea of what the distance between Delhi to Bombay is. If you don't know the distance between Delhi and Bombay, what we can essentially do is, depending upon how you have traveled between Delhi and Bombay, whether you have taken a flight before or a train before, you can estimate from that. So, train typically takes about 24 hours to reach from Delhi to Bombay, assuming it's not a super fast train. And trains in India roughly have, I would say, similar speed as of a car. So they would say around 60 kilometers per hour is their average speed. So from that, I find that if the travel time was 25 hours, the distance between Delhi and Bombay is 1500 kilometers. Now, remembering how the layout of India is, I would say that this is roughly perhaps half of the total north-south distance. Okay, and that would make the total north-south expanse to be around 3000 kilometers. You could do the same with the flight, that the flying time between Delhi and Bombay is about 2 hours. The speed of a commercial domestic flight would be around 750 kilometers per hour. So that again gives the distance of 1500 kilometers. Now you don't have to be worried whether you know the speed of a train or an aeroplane or not. In case you are stuck, you can just have a conversation with the interviewer and try to come up with that. One good way would be the way I estimated. I thought what the speed of the train would be by benchmarking it to the speed of the car. Okay, so you can try to do this kind of a benchmarking. We'll discuss more of that in some other videos. Okay, so you either use train or flight, but you get the idea that the total north-south expanse is going to be 3,000 kilometers. If someone just knows what the distance, what the travel time between Srinagar and Tiruvananthapuram is, well, that could be easier. All right. Now, so the problem is now very simple. We know that the north-south is about 3,000 kilometers. The east-west is again around 3,000 kilometers. Now the area simply becomes half into 3,000 into 3,000, which is 4.5 million square kilometer. Now, one word here about the calculation, though we'll discuss this separately also in a video about numbers. But when you're trying to multiply something like half into 3,000 into 3,000, it's best if you remove all the powers of 10 and treat them separately. So essentially what I'm asking you to do here is that treat this calculation as half into 3 into 3 into 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power 3. Because a lot of times when you're solving the case and there's a lot of data also with you, making a zero error is quite common. So we would treat them separately as just powers of 10. So it essentially becomes 4.5 into 10 to the power 6. 10 to the power 6 is a million. So we simply have 4.5 million square kilometer. Alright, I hope that is clear. If you check the area of India online, you will find that it's around 3.28 million square kilometer. So our guesstimate roughly gives us a good answer. Okay. So I hope this was useful. I'll keep posting more videos. Feel free to subscribe and discuss it with your friends if you want. Alright. Thank you.